I was about to leave to go to be the Peace Corps representative in Africa, leave the White House, and accompanied Kennedy out to talk to 600 Peace Corps volunteers about to leave. When we were coming back in, he said, "This will be really serious when it's 100,000 a year, and then in 1 decade, there'll be 1 million Americans with firsthand experience in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, and then we'll have, for the first time, a large constituency for a good foreign policy." That was Kennedy's vision.
Imagine if we had 100,000 Americans serving in countries around the world every year. The impact that could have on our understanding of other people, languages, how they live, the struggles they face, the challenges they confront.
They can make a difference in the fields that they're working on in service, but they can also learn so much from their experience and bring back best practices from other countries to the United States as well.
It would break down so many of those misperceptions that people have, and also I think it would inspire so much dialogue.
100,000 Americans engaged all over the world with their counterparts, eye to eye, heart to heart, community to community, would radically transform the way in which we trust the world and trust ourselves.
The world needs that kind of large international service venture, even more than it did in 1960.
You know, we're approaching the 50th anniversary of the U.S. Peace Corps, and for 50 years Americans have gone to volunteer abroad.
We think this is a historic moment to advance this important legacy and tradition of the United States.
ServiceWorld is an effort by many organizations to take a quantum leap forward in international service. And we feel that international service is an effective way to address critical social issues
in a way that welcomes all nationalities into integrated efforts to fight malaria, to fight diarrheal disease, to fight the absence of education for women and girls, to fight the exclusion of people with disabilities, together.
We need to find a cost-effective, sustainable way of doing this. And there's already money the government is spending to address HIV/AIDS, to promote international visitors, and a lot of that money can be used more effectively through international volunteers.
We envision it unfolding this way. One, we want to fulfill the promise of the Peace Corps and follow through on both President George W. Bush and President Obama's commitment to double the Peace Corps.
Second, the global service fellowships, which are for shorter term service that will enable even more people to be able to go on a direct relationship with nonprofit organizations.
Also, ServiceWorld proposes to expand Volunteers for Prosperity from 34,000 volunteers abroad now to 75,000 volunteers abroad for flexible, short-term volunteering so that professionals can use the skills that they have in confronting challenges abroad.
And lastly, just as there is now a fund for social innovation for domestic service, an international social innovation fund.
You know, with the economic challenges in the country, there's tens of thousands of people that would love to spend a year volunteering abroad.
That's who we are. That's how we rebuild when times are tough. We can't look to people in need and say, not now. That's not us.
If we wait 5, 10 more years to try to build this network and develop the capacity of people around the world to address these issues, we will be too late. I mean, we may be pretty close as it is now.
We've been entangled in institutions of war, you might say. It's time to give our heart and our brains and our hands to the institutions of peace.
Call your congressman, your senator. You got to be tough. You've got to be persistent.
The service sector doesn't have the paid lobbyists and the folks walking the halls of Congress nonstop like other industries. And the benefit that we do have are the millions of people who are passionate about service, whether it's domestic or international.
We've got to get it out of nice and into urgent. We've got to get it out of convenient, desirable, and into mission critical. And fundamentally, what I think people forget was that's what President Kennedy did.
Because of the economic crisis, because of the social challenges, the time is now to advance ServiceWorld.